Hi, my name's Ethan Lawrence.
This is Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage.
Hi, I'm Scotty Wartooth.
Hi, my name's Sean Smith.
Hi, my name is Desha Kiva.
This is Ryan McCombs from the band Soil.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Raging Cage and Lash Maloof.
What's going on, everybody? It's Tom.
And it's Jamie. Welcome to the Chronicles of Podcast.
Happy days.
Ladies and gentlemen, this week we are joined by some very special guests. This week's guests are members of an incredible band who are celebrating the release of their latest EP, Black Sun Sorcery. What a fucking metal name. And their upcoming performance at the Bloodstock Festival. As we are joined by Sirin, Morgan and James as we bring you the Chronicles of Moonreaper.
Oh,
What up?
What's going on?
And like I said before we got going, an absolute pleasure to have you all here. Thank you for joining us. And like James said, a year in the making.
Yeah, I mean, bumping into you at Bloodstock last year, and it's kind of full circle for us. We're gonna have to meet you in person as well. We're gonna have to commit now in enough advance to meet in person at Bloodstock to really do the full circle. But yeah, really excited to be here and basically chat shit with you guys for a good hour or so.
Gorgeous. I mean, we have got our accreditation confirmed last week, so we are going to be there. And I know, and we'll get to it later on, but I know that obviously you'll be there this year. So let's definitely schedule some time in and come chat and whatnot. It'd be great, but we'll get to that a bit later. And we'll discuss obviously close to the time. And then the thing is, as soon as you blink, Bloodstock's going to be here, and then it's going to go. It's so crazy. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be so much. It's over.
I do like the very business side of you that came out for a second there. We'll discuss that later. We'll do the accreditation in a moment. We'll do that silly thing.
We'll pencil something in the diary.
Yes. How are you for Sunday afternoon, darling? I can do about
4:30. I'll bring the cocktails. Don't you worry about that. Anyway, how are all your personal Mondays?
Been good. Busy day today. Good.
Monday, man. It's
Monday, my
it's never gonna be that good, is it? It's fucking Monday, but you know, it's all right. We've been to Wales today. Helped make some furniture for my mum. Went for a nice lunch, and then Sharon's been smashing a 2-hour vocal practice, and I've been smashing the home gym. So it's pretty standard. Pretty standard.
That's what all the heavy musicians do, kids. They move fucking furniture. I've been building an IKEA wardrobe. If you want to be successful and play Bloodstock, go to fucking IKEA. There you go. You're welcome.
I just got this image of like Sirin doing like guttural vocals to try and like encourage you on while you're doing your exercises. Move.
In like before show warm-ups, they literally go into a room together, and I can't actually tell what they're doing to each other, and I'm not sure whether I should be scared or like aroused because they just shut the door and you just hear like she could be murdering him or making love to him, and I would never know until I realize they come out and they're actually okay. Like, it's a very surreal experience.
Are we just crossed this threshold already? It's like
yeah, we are.
I'll be honest, I wasn't quite sure how to react. I was a bit like,
this is the first time. There's a lot of this going on these days. I don't know if they're fucking or if they're just vocalizing. Oh,
anything into a sex button. This is just.
I just like the fact that Sirin went the colour of our backgrounds during that. That was good.
okay. Okay, if it's a normal thing, so I don't know. That was weird. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, James. I apologise. You know, you
okay.
Made conversation and my brain just went. Oh,
I mean,
right.
that's literally what I do every show. I just hear from behind a closed door, just and I have no idea what's going on. I know they're warming up, but like it still takes you back because obviously. No one prepares you. So as I'm not a vocalist, no one prepares you for how loud they are when they warm up. Like it's proper belting it. Like they hardly need. You've seen Alex from Slaughter to Prevail at like
yes.
I think it was Brutal Assault or something like that, where he literally just belts it across the audience. It's like that, but obviously it's behind a dressing room door, and you kind of like you're just chatting to like other bands and just chilling out. You forget what they're doing, and you're suddenly like, is someone just being like murdered in the room next door?
Shit.
The dressing room. If not, we just have to find like a random quiet space and start making some demon noises there.
One of the last was just in the car. I was doing vocals in my car, and I was doing Master of Puppets because that's a great warm up song for me. And anyway, I'm fucking
seat position as well.
Yeah, I'm getting to it. So I'm doing vocals in my car because I need to warm up before the show. This is a show that we've had to get a hotel for. So I got out of the hotel, got in my car, and I was like, no one around. Probably be all right if I just do a bit here, and get warmed up. And literally, the moment I get onto my harsh vocals, a fucking dude pulls up in the space next to me. So I'm like, fuck. So I gotta adjust my seat and just go backwards, lie down in my car, and I'm like, oh, hopefully you won't see me.
Meanwhile, I've warmed up in the hotel room because
Sirin terrorized some hotel residents. It was one or the other.
Yeah, it was in the checkout window, so there wasn't as many people around. At least lying down in the car going, bleh.
Hey, this guy wouldn't leave his fucking car. He was just sat there. He just thought he'd chill in a car park for a bit. I was like, mate, just leave. I'm trying to.
I like the idea of you going back as you're doing the scream. So with the sound of the, and then the high on the way up, just back and forth constantly.
I wonder if he was waiting for you to fuck off so he could go dogging.
Maybe. Yeah. It was talking about a hotel car park though. This is not very private. And...
They don't give a shit, mate. They don't give a shit.
Was this Cumbria?
Yeah, it's Barrow. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's in the middle of Cumbria. One person and you in a car park. God knows what could have happened.
I mean, it's in the name.
Yes.
Cumbria.
Unless it's fuck a lot of cheese, I don't know. Sorry.
Oh God.
That was awful. That was awful. I thought James was bad. That was fucking atrocious. I'm so sad. I'll go. You guys chat. I'll see you later.
But we're a very serious band that takes ourselves very seriously, as you can tell, and it's very important to us to write very serious music. Isn't that what I meant to say?
Right. Before we talk all things Moon Reaper, on this show, we like to take things right back to the start, right back to the days of your youth. What did you want to be when you were growing up? Ladies first.
To be honest, musician is all I've ever wanted to do. So my mum used to sneak me out of school a lot as a kid to take me to metal shows and stuff. Which is the best. I class myself as a second gen metalhead. And from going to so many gigs at a young age, I just kind of fell in love with that as a career path. So there was a brief time where I wanted to be a vet, but I didn't have the heart to put down animals, and it was a lot of studying.
It's too much work, basically. Being in a band is piss. Vet. That's a hard job. It can always do the same. I wanted to be Jimi Hendrix when I grew up, and then I learned he was dead, so that wasn't.
and black. More to the point.
The one thing that keeps me alive, so they kind of culled my dreams. But anyway, I always wanted to be a musician, and then now I'm a bartender. So it's all worked out so well, really. If you think about it, making drinks for people. It's the same as performing on stage. If you think about it.
Bloodstock 2 years in a row.
That is true.
Just say you're a musician. Don't sell yourself short, sir. You're a musician.
Yeah. We're getting there. It's a slow build. Slow. Constant grind. Yeah.
What about yourself, James?
I never thought that I'd be able to do something like this, even to a semi-professional, whatever you want to call it, level. So I grew up playing sport and being a footballer because my dad supported football, and I was really into sport when I was younger. And then I developed neurodivergence, and it all kind of went to shit from there, really. And now I just hit things, and people kind of enjoy that I hit things nicely or not nicely.
Disgustingly.
Disgusting.
Yeah, no, disgusting.
That's a great way to describe drummers. I hit things nicely. I like that. But obviously, Sirin, you've already sort of answered this one, but where did that love for music, especially like metal music, come from? Was it from the same for you two? Was it like your parents' influence or somewhere completely different?
Well, for you is your mum.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it was my godfather bought me a Motorhead's like compilation CD, like an official one, which had like 20 tracks on it. and when I heard that, I was like, whoa. I was like 8 or something. I was like, whoa, yeah, yeah, bro, Kill by like an Overkill. What a tune to hear when you're a kid. That shit, the guitar solos at the end of Overkill sent me over the edge. And then my guitar tutor at the time, because I had a guitar tutor when I was a kid, burned me a Dragon Force CD mix. And I was like, and ever since that moment, I was like, I'm doing that. I'm going to do that. But don't get me wrong, Moon Reaper is nothing like Dragon Force. So far from it.
I love the fact that Dragon Force goes on. It's game over. That's it. I'm good. This is me now.
Also, you got Sam Topman. Sam Topman from Dragon Force was in Bambalam, my bar, 2 days ago.
What?
And they didn't fucking tell me. I was on the bar and he was at a different part of the venue and they didn't say anything.
You were working on shift?
Yeah, with Sam Topman. I got.
But hang on. If you go Sam from Dragon Forces in your bar, how many of us are actually going, who? Now, if you go Herman from Dragon Forces in your bar, that's a aha. Mm-hmm.
But my boss knew that he was there and knew I was working and didn't say shit.
Probably thought if we tell him we ain't getting a single bit of work out of him, he's just going to be attached to him. So fuck it, we're not going to say anything.
Just do one more sweet pick for me, bro. Yeah. Just in the corner. More.
What do you mean Morgan's joined Dragon Force? What's happened there?
I've been snatched by them.
What about yourself, James? Where did that love of metal come from?
Mine was more of a rebellion. So my dad was into sort of Bob Dylan and sort of like punk and the Clash and sort of thing. My mum, it kind of upset me that Morgan was talking about burning CDs, and I realized how fucking long ago that was. I used to remember. This is going to really age me. Do you remember recording things off the radio via tape?
Yeah.
That's what I remember doing. And then, yeah, exactly. Morgan and Sirin were like, what is tape? So I grew up like listening to CDs. And then my real exposure was like, I got into sort of things like Linkin Park stuff. But then somebody sent me in 2 Minutes of the Machine by Job for a Cowboy. And that was it. I was down the rabbit hole from there. Like, how much more disgusting can I make this sound? And eventually I've just learned to absolutely love it. That was my journey.
It's a band I haven't heard of in a long time. Job for a Cowboy.
They've changed. They've changed, haven't they? Though they're not the same. I don't know. Job for a Cowboy is a weird one because they're not the same band they were when I grew up with them. They're not really like that deathcore band. They've gone really techie and stuff, and you have to really be into that. But I loved the Genesis album. I still love that album, and obviously the Doom album, just because it was at a time where it was like stuff like Pray for Plagues as well, and it was just how noisy can we get and just be absolutely the opposite of everything that was in the mainstream, which was sort of nice and boy bands, S Club 7, Take That and all that. And this was the complete antithesis of that. So that was really what attracted to me, just a pure rebellion. And I've loved it ever since, and I still do.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone loves boy band tracks. No matter how much everyone loves them.
I tell you what's genius. The A Day to Remember cover of Kelly Clarkson is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I will go to my grave with that. That is the best thing ever. If you like Kelly Clarkson and then suddenly there's just gutturals, I'm just there like, yes, come on.
There's some conferring in the corner then. What are they saying?
We're going to fire him soon. So.
It's fine. Fire me all you like.
Okay. But wait. But which part of what he said was the part you want to fire him over?
Oh, I mean, it started with the
opening in the back of the mouth.
Yeah, as soon as he opened his mouth, really.
It started with a sex joke at the start of the conversation.
Because I will not have A Day to Remember slandered on this show in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so that's why I was curious.
It's right. At Bloodstock, me and Tom are just going to embrace and go, it's fine, they can't hurt us in our little A Day to Remember huddle. Go away, you non-believers.
I mean, it's all good. They are one of my favorite bands like in the world. So that is one of the reasons why. But everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to enjoy what they like to enjoy. And if you don't like that stuff, that's fine. It's boring if everyone likes the same shit.
Respect.
You know what I'm saying? So it's what fucks me off is when people are like, a Days to Remember? Are you serious? What's fucking wrong with you? Oh, sorry, mate. Now you've mentioned it. I'd never listen to them ever again. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Not that with you.
Not with me, but with Ghost.
Oh yeah, Ghosts suck. Yeah, they do.
Oh, dude.
Nah, they do.
No, they don't.
Okay, word.
Oh.
In the band, we've all got like our like band that we clutch onto. And Aiden's a big power metal boy, and like he loves his Ghost. He loves his Halloween and stuff. He was gutted last year, by the way. He's so excited for this year because he gets Unleash the Archers, he gets Grand Maze, he gets all of them this year. But like Morgan and Sirin very much dislike those things, so we just clutch to them together. Like, no, you can't take away. We're allowed to like what we like.
I don't as much as Morgan does.
Listen, man. I got no issue with power metal. One of my first bands, like we've already said, is Dragon Force. So I don't have a vendetta against power metal. But it does suck.
I mean,
it does, man. It's so like,
That's what's great about it.
I've never heard you hit that high before.
Okay, you. That's a lie. First of all, that's a lie.
That is a lie.
Oh,
But, yeah, listen, I got nothing against power metal, but just chill out, man.
It's fine. I wouldn't expect anything more from people that enjoy listening to Knock Loose, to be honest. So it's fine. You can have bad opinions.
I mean, having all the eclectic tastes that you have and having different tastes and stuff, surely that helps bring the band. Be like, oh, we'll bring a little bit of this and bring a little bit of this and bring a little bit of that into the band. And that's what creates Moon Reaper, surely.
It's actually the only interesting thing about us.
Nice. Okay.
It's good. Good.
So we can wrap up here. Is that right? Or...
No, actually, no. So like, yeah, it's a good point. We have so many different influences. It's like a lot of the thing we kind of deal with at the moment is that we sort of say we're black and doom, but we also have hardcore, we have death metal, and it's because we all listen to different aspects of the genre and we can bring those things in. And that, I think, is what makes us universal in that way. Like when I was growing up, metal was just bands like Gojira and stuff like that. It was just metal. You didn't go, oh, well, they're techie death, and I didn't anyway, certain other people did. So I think we embrace the fact that we all have different things we really like, and that allows us to blend that sort of more sort of just like we're a metal band. Yes, we're predominantly doom, but we also have aspects here, and you can kind of get down to wherever you like. There'll be something we do within what we do. So we really enjoy that. Actually, that's the political answer. switching my hats here very rapidly between tired and taking the piss and political band answer.
He is to piss off all the niche fan bases in bands. That's the idea. Piss off the kids.
I think nicheness though is something that's fairly recent. From my experience of being a fan, niche genres is something that's come out a lot more in the later 2010s. I don't know how Jamie and Tom you feel about this, but to me it's something that's become more recently, whereas beforehand it was just I just listened to metal, and that could be anything from Megadeth, Joffrey Cowboy to like Napalm Death to porno grind. You didn't define it as much as those genres. How do you guys feel about that?
I 100% agree. I can't remember what it was now, but there was a band and I heard them described as something and I was like, is that actually a thing, or did someone just make that up on the spot? Because it didn't sound real. Like, I don't get where they all come from. And they all end in metal. So let's just call it all metal.
Yeah.
Job done. Who cares? I've never quite understood all the genre stuff myself. But no. I'm probably just too lazy for it.
I was an email kid back in the day. I was one of them. Back in the when I actually had hair.
Well, that's the other one. That you had the split between metal, emo, and then like metalcore and all of that. And screamo. I remember screamo, which is basically screamo and metalcore are basic. There's no difference apart from one was a certain movement and one was a different one. It's like, we're not screamo kids because we don't identify with those people. It's like, but you're all writing very similar music, and all those bands are still listened to and now just called either metalcore, new metal, or just alt, which is the most frustrating band I've ever seen. Oh, this is just alternate. It's okay, great.
Dude, I love nerding out about the specific genres. That it's like I'm so passionate about metal and writing and listening to lots of different stuff. The niche differences like make it for me. If I hear a band is like a blackened doom metal band, I'm fucking I'm full for it, man. I'm full for. I want to hear everything they've got. I know I like black metal, and I know I like doom metal, and I'm getting 2 for 1 there, man. If you got black and hardcore doom, for me, that's a jackpot. Because I love three. I love those 3 genres. If it's proggy jazz death metal, like I'm down for that too, man.
Please tell me proggy jazz death metal is a genre, because that sounds incredible.
Isn't that just gent with more words?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go.
The band that I'm referring to is called the Zenith Passage, and they're an excellent band. Excellent. They won album of the year last year or something, some kind of big award. The Zenith Passage, they did, I don't know how you say it, Detaliism is their album. Really good, techie, modern sounding, but like brutal as hell, with jazzy sections too.
I wouldn't be surprised if Eagle threw in some jazzy bits here and there. Because Eagle do basically everything, meld it into, I just call it ADHD metal.
Sirin loves Eagle.
I mean, they do so many different styles within every one of their songs, from Nintendo noises to chicken samples to you name it. But they blend it flawlessly. They're playing Bloodstock this year, by the way, so check them out if you haven't seen them before. But yeah, you can't nail it down to like a handful of subgenres. Is why I just find it easier to be like ADHD metal, because everything, but it's really good.
I really like that. Oh, right. Let's get this back on track, shall we?
Okay.
So, Moon Reaper became a thing, first released music, in 2019. How long before that did it all start?
It started in 2018 while I was in university, and I formed it with 2 other members. So basically a year, and it would things were going pretty well. I think we were on a good track, and then obviously COVID basically just fucked everything up, and the other 2 members unfortunately couldn't make it happen anymore. So essentially we had to restart as soon as COVID. So arguably, the first single and maybe even the first EP is a kind of proto Moon Reaper, and now we're kind of getting into the good stuff, the proper stuff, because all that time that we spent working together as a unit, like writing as a unit and stuff, that it didn't really accumulate to anything, because it was all halted because no one would leave their house, and it was like, well, I'm not coming to practice. We can't go and practice.
Yeah.
And you know how things happen. People pick up other responsibilities and stuff. So yeah, 2019. Spiralism. Fucking. I still like that song, but Jesus Christ, I've played it so many times.
So how did this current lineup meet them?
Oh, you want to tell this one? I've done a lot of talking. You want to tell it?
I've been kind of in the background of Moon Reaper since its inception anyway, because we went to the same uni together, but didn't join the band until it's been just over a year now.
Nah, it's been longer than that. It's been almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
How did you meet Aiden?
I met him on Facebook. I met Aiden, the bassist, on Facebook. Yeah.
So there's quite a tight knit community within the metal scene in Bristol anyway. So I feel like that's where the friendship kind of grew. Jared, our guitarist, we met randomly in a park. We were waiting in a park next to a venue for the doors to open for Gate Creeper, and this Australian dude, really long dreads, walks on and said, "Oh, do you mind if I sit with you while we wait for the show?" And been golden ever since. He is a very good egg. I feel like you're probably better off.
Oh, so James is a good one. I met him before this point, but he messaged me and asked if I would like his guitar.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, fucking go on then. By the way, this guitar, so it's an 8-string. Okay, it's 8-string. So I was immediately, bedazzled by the 8th string on it. But soon learned that he didn't want it because it was a piece of shit.
It was it really tickled me.
Yeah, when he arrived in an old, decommissioned service.
Oh my days, dude.
One of those amber lights.
Yeah, had an
spinning
amber
around.
light on the top. It was bright yellow car. I was like, who the fuck is this guy, man? So yeah, I gave his guitar back in the end because I didn't want it.
You still got it, James?
It's currently with somebody else. It's still in my possession. It's being held by someone who appreciates it for what it is.
He's still trying to get rid of it. So how does you trying to give a guitar away turn into you playing drums in their band?
I think this is just kicking down at this point, to be honest. Not even kick. That's how tired I am. It's not even kicking, it's punching, is what I meant. That was the first time I actually met them properly. I then auditioned for the band a couple of months later, I think. Smashed it. Still had the sexy yellow car, which is an ex-Cardiff Council highway vehicle. That's why it's got the light on it, and I loved it to bits, and it was great value and great mileage. And they didn't mind it when I was carting their stuff around, incidentally. Funny that, isn't it? They like to take the piss out of my car, except when it's got all their fucking gear in it. Then it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I never moaned about the car. I'm merely making an observation on its physical appearance, and it did look funny. So
listen, if you want to look about how physical appearance is not a good, factor about what the thing is, you're looking at it right here. Do you know what I mean? Do I look like I look like what I am, which is a man in his 30s who's going to be a dad who spent building furniture all day. I don't look like a metal drummer, really. I don't know what's going on in here. Anyway, so yeah, I've been a fan of them before, and I liked what they were doing, auditioned, got the part, and I've been having the shit ripped out of me ever since, which is a great pleasure.
Say that like you don't do it too.
I mean, you just started at the beginning, to be fair. So I think we're all giving as good as we're getting at the greatest rate. But just before I move on, did you just say that you're about to be a dad?
I did, yeah. Not only have I managed to find a woman that will marry me and live with me, she's also accepted to sleep with me on enough occasions where I've accidentally impregnated her as well. It's a wild ride, but yeah. December.
The right word?
Well, no, I think it was definitely on purpose. One of the times. So yeah, December. I'm having my first child. Well, I'm not. She is. I will then care. I don't feel like I need to explain this to you.
No. Tell us more about how this works. I'm.
You make weird screaming noises.
Do you speak to each other during?
Right. So for context, Aidan, the bassist, has put his wedding photos in the group chat just for his interview, and the only photo of me is literally where I look like I'm crewing myself while I'm playing a game. It's the weirdest photo. It's gonna get pulled up now, or we'll send it to you and you can pop it in. But that's the only photo of me of the wedding. So, that's why we're just giggling about it. There it is. Look, what is that?
Dude, what is that white stuff at the? What the hell?
That's edited by them.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I can see the penis in the hand.
Yeah. No, I didn't actually have a severed penis in my hand at a wedding.
I didn't see the cock. I just saw the cum. I saw the cum splash. That's all I could see.
Yeah.
So I was a bit like, what the fuck? Is there someone throwing water at the right time or something?
December I become a dad. So I've got a lot of being a child to get over with in August and September, and I've got to be an adult really from January. Until I can corrupt them with heavy music as well. Incidentally, I'm actually banned from listening to my favorite band at the moment because my favorite band is Dying Fetus, and my missus is kind of superstitious. She goes, "If you could just not listen to that band around me, I would appreciate it." It's just like can't argue with that logic, can I?
No, not really.
You still planning on wearing that shirt to the birth?
No, we had this conversation. I was planning to wear my Wrong One to Fuck With tour shirt, but actually that's a very quick fire way to get ejected from a maternity unit because obviously it's not just you in there. So no, yeah. I'll sneak something in, or I'll just listen to it while in there. It's a weird one. It's kind of I really feel like an adult for the first time. So now we're talking about things like I remember tapes and CDs. Now it's me having my own children, which is I only feel like it was a couple of years ago that I felt like a kid myself. So yeah, that is I'm the old man of the group having his children. Morgan and Sirin do not like children, so they will not be meeting my sprog ever. And that's me. I didn't expect that to come up, to be honest.
Go back to the Dying Fetus thing. Isn't there a new song by Raised by Owl? Sorry, I'm more a Dying Fetus t-shirt.
Yes.
Baby shower.
What I was going to ask is because I'm always intrigued by what came first. So Morgan, I'm going to aim this at you. The the name Moon Reaper. What I'm more interested in actually what you had big to begin with, but how did you actually get to there in the end?
Ooh, well, all of the music is written around space entities and astrophysical phenomena such as black holes, and primarily focused on black holes, quasars, nebulas, that kind of thing. Anyway, so it was originally called Deadline because it was a uni project with.
And it needed a
It
name.
needed a name, so I was like, I don't know, it works well. And then I started writing about the space stuff, and I was like, needs to be better. Also, there are a million bands called Deadline, so I was like, fuck that. And then we arrived on Sun Eater, which there are, of course, many bands already called. It swiftly changed to Earth Crusher.
These were just names he was pondering.
No, I made an email for these names.
Did you actually?
Yeah, no, I've still got hands. And then it was eventually settled that Moon Reaper was the least objectionable band name that wasn't already taken until I found out there was a Canadian Moon Reaper. But they suck, so it's fine. It's fine.
So it's fun.
They're like indie rock in a couple of years, shit artwork is fine. It's fine.
I just like the fact you made the email addresses before you checked there were already bands.
I was eager.
It does sound like a really culty Power Rangers set though, doesn't it? Like Sun Eater, Earth Crusher, Moon Reaper's the Black Power Ranger of the metal bands, and we all know the Black Power Ranger's the best Power Ranger, so that's what we stuck with.
I love that you got that interest in the space thing though. Like I was expecting, I don't know, I wasn't expecting such an interesting answer. I think is what I was trying to get at. Like, and I was like, oh well, we just thought this and fuck it, stuck with it. Do you know what I mean?
I always say that Moon Reaper is like a metaphor.
It's a synonym for a black hole. The Moon Reaper is the black hole, as it were, that which reaps the moons, harvesting the celestial bodies. Because there's nothing
thing in the universe, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing fucking heavier than a black hole, dude. There's nothing more dense or more malevolent or more violent in the entire universe than a black hole. And there we go. And that's your answer.
That's incredible. But do you have like a proper interest in space and that sort of thing then in planets?
Yeah.
And...
I've got a diploma in
They're fucking nerds, Tom. They're massive nerds. Did you not study for this interview? They're nerds. Like they're fucking nerds. Like
That's
they just
so cool.
Yeah, I've got a diploma in astrophysics. But that was I just did it for my own back during COVID because I was bored and I wanted to learn more about space, so I just went and did that. And it took a long time. It was like I vastly underestimated the amount of maths that are in astrophysics. So I was like, oh fuck, this is kind of hard, and I'm kind of dumb. So,
no, whoa. Tied up with an astrophysics degree? Are you fucking for real?
No, that's genuinely. I've got an EDX diploma in. It's not a degree. It's the equivalent of 1 year of a degree, but it's still something, right? And I learned a lot about
space.
Lots of stuff that I didn't care about, like measuring to like nearby stars. I was like, well, I just want to learn about the cool stuff like nebulas and like how planets get their rings and what happens when you enter a black hole. What happens? How does a quasar work? How does it happen? What's a pulsar? How does it eject so much energy and mass in one go? And what could it do to a planet? So yeah, I'm really nerding out now. I'm really nerding.
Isn't that how you spent your pandemic? Started getting a degree. I think I discovered carpal tunnel syndrome in the pandemic, and
I learned how to do metal vocals.
Well, oddly enough, I was with my ex-girlfriend in the pandemic, and she was doing the exact same thing. So that's why I was like quite intrigued by when you were talking about it, because she was doing the exact same thing.
You didn't get carpal tunnel syndrome as well. It was the
astrophysics thing. Yeah.
Oh, the degree, right?
Yeah. No. I also remember that obviously my Zoom is not exactly the same as where we are on yours, so I was a bit like, so basically Morgan's below me and then James are over here.
Right. Gotcha.
Jamie's next to me, so I was a bit like, so if you, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's below me on everyone else's screen. So
Is that why you're leaning quite heavily to your left, Tom? Just like.
no, it's because this chair is fucked. This chair is so broken. So I'm trying really hard to not just disappear off the screen. Yeah.
So you mentioned, Sirin, you joined the band a couple of years ago now. Who was doing vocals beforehand? Was it you, Morgan?
Yeah, it's just Morgan. It's just Morgan. But the parts that you were writing, because we've been living together for many, many moons now, and for a long time you were saying you finding that you needed another you almost, because you do all the guitar parts on your ones and do the really extreme like vocals that you'd written for the song at the same time.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough doing both at the same time, especially because back then it was a 3-piece, so I was doing essentially lead rhythm and all the vocals. So respect to James Hetfield. So yeah, I was saying to you, like, I need another me to do the bits that I've written.
Prior to lockdown, I didn't know how to do like extreme vocals properly, so using the time as wisely as we could, you taught me how to do extreme vocals safely. And like we're big fans of bands like Conjurer and stuff like that as well, and we really like the dual vocal dynamic because we had so much time to practice the technique together. We could learn ways to kind of almost like harmonize the screams in certain parts of the song to help build the dynamic.
We workshop it. We utilize the duo vocals in a way that we hope has more impact, because the duo vocals is nothing new. But to really coordinate it properly and to do it live is, it's the same as harmonizing a guitar solo, right? It's just learning the timing, learning the right bits. But yeah, I feel like we strongly diverged
a little bit
from the
You can tangent and diverge as much as you like. So you're all good. But how do you even learn to do it in the first place? Like, how do I don't
teacher Morgan?
Well, she had been doing vocals in another band for a long time, and she was already a sick vocalist, and there was potential there, and we like the same music, and it was like, why don't I just teach you? Like, we live together, we are together, and fucking why not? I may as well share the skill. The question of how it takes a long time and it's a lot of work.
In short, there are two main types of scream: the false chord, which is what I use predominantly, and then you've got fry scream, which is normally a lot higher. Like if you listen to Knock Loose, for example,
that's a fry scream.
False chords, you've got these flappy bits in your throat that sit above the vocal cords. And what you're doing is you're creating resonance in those folds to produce a scream. Whereas with the fry scream, from my understanding, you're putting your vocal cords in almost a state of paralysis, and then that creates the resonance for the scream. But there's a lot of stuff online that helps with learning it.
Yeah, without getting too technical, because this isn't a vocal lesson.
I find it fascinating. I'm just sitting there going, tell me more. Like, I find it fascinating. I really do.
Of what Sirin does is like when a dog barks or a lion roars or you get these animalistic guttural noises that come, like a bear, for example. Animals are using their false chords to create the sound. Otherwise, they would sound like humans, like we do, because a dog has more gruff. A bear has more grit to its voice, right, than just a regular phonated sound, like we're discussing right now. And you can learn this. Like, all humans have these false chords in them, but they're dormant because we're told to not scream when we're younger. So we never scream. So you have to relearn. It's like you imagine you had a leg that you hadn't used in 22 years or something, and then someone was like, "Hey, let's go for a run." You'd be like, "Oh, I need to learn how to use it again," you know?
Like, after I started learning how to do extreme vocals with you, I had this weird memory of like being able to do these activations when I was a child, because you're carefree, you don't really think about it. And because I hadn't used it for so long, I'd just completely forgotten what that felt like. And like over time, you do gradually unlock more and more kind of overtones to the scream, which makes it sound a bit more full.
Yeah. In the same way that if you train a muscle over and over, it will get stronger, it will get bigger. These are membranes. They're not quite muscles, but they work in the same way. As in, you get used to creating a sound with them, so you can essentially thicken them and unlock more. You can stretch your vocal tract in certain ways to create, different sounds with it.
A lot of it is to do with tongue shape as well.
Yeah, the tongue comes in a lot.
You can manipulate.
Sorry, I held out for so long. Without being immature, and that just killed me.
Oh, it's a tongue, is it? Oh, you love a bit of tongue work, don't you, Morgan?
You're talking about flappy bits, and you're talking about, and I'm like, don't say anything. They're being very serious. And then the tongue comes into play a lot. I'm like, fuck, I'm done. I can't.
There we have it. Let's put a pin in it there because I'm going on all day about it.
No, it's like Jamie said, it's just really fascinating, and especially because obviously females tend to be a lot higher when they talk, and men tend to be a lot lower. So the fact that, like, when I was listening to you earlier, it's almost like I can't tell who's who because the vocals are disgustingly like in the nicest way possible. Obviously, not like do you know what I mean?
She looks so cracked.
Yeah. So like
the vocals. Sorry to cut you off, man. The only difference between the false chords in Sirin and the false chords in my throat is that it's just to do with the length of the vocal tract and the size of the vocal cords. There being male or female doesn't really have that much to do with it. They're just trained differently. Like Sirin has a shorter vocal tract than me because she's female, but she can get, if she puts her mouth like that, she can get super low just like any dude can. And the same way that I can go really high because it's all in the mouth shape, really.
This is kind of what I was mentioning about the tongue placement earlier. You can manipulate the sound quite a lot just by shaping your mouth in certain ways.
A good female vocalist will be able to get way lower than a mediocre male vocalist. Extreme vocal.
Okay, because I didn't mean it like, because she's a woman and you're a girl. I didn't mean that. I just meant.
Nah,
okay.
I'm just. It's sexist. You're bloody sexist, Tom.
It's an interesting point because a lot of people do sort of intimate, why have an additional focus? Is it just because she's female? And then it's very much, we want to be able to say, no, we treat both voices as individual instruments, the same way as in an orchestra, you'd add an extra violin or something. The fact that, and it generally plays out the way societies anyway, the fact that Sirin is a woman or a female, however you want to say it, like that is kind of irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? No, well, different people say it different ways, but essentially they're two individual voices within the general orchestration of the band. And what we like about the fact is that you can't, unless you have recorded the tracks like I know them apart because I know the voices that well. I know which bits they do, so I can tell them. But to the listener, you don't know that, and that adds to the mystique and it adds to the identifiable aspect of it, especially for our female audience, because it's empowering for them as well. And that's one of the biggest things that we hear from a lot of fans is that young women in the metal scene can feel empowered to come forward because they feel that from shit, and they feel that from other people, sort of the Ginger, Arch Enemy when I was growing up with Interpretation. Do you know what I mean? Like they feel it from other as well. But we like to be part of that movement and part of that embodying for young women in the industry as well.
It's definitely really nice to see more and more women like coming through in the industry and the heavy scene, seeing it all the time. And like since like last year when we did Metal to the Masses, this year coming back to do the grand final as a guest, like there was so many more women who were competing, and that's really nice to see.
That's amazing.
I watched Cage Fight last year at Trees with Jamie. Rachel asked, I was like, what the fuck? How does she even get like that's insane? But still, anyway, let's bring it back to yourselves. You dropped your brand new EP, Black Sun Sorcery, on June 7th. Has it been well received?
I think so. I think so. You wanna?
No, you go for it.
It's kind of hard to answer that, right? Because we want to keep ourselves on an even keel. But like, yeah, we've had a lot of positive returns from it. We've had some people who have said they don't like it, but you don't want to let it all go to your head, and you want to try and keep on the right level. To us, it's kind of a bit mind-blowing. People still say this is incredible. Like some reviewers are coming out and saying like there's like these are 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 EPs, and we're like we're almost anticipating the shit review coming in, or we're anticipating someone to go, no, this is dog shit, this is crap, they don't know what they're doing, and it hasn't quite happened yet, and that's kind of weird to experience. So yeah, it's been good. And obviously getting back onto Bloodstock, which for me, I didn't even think was going to be, let alone playing New Blood, I didn't think Sophie was going to be even feasible this year. So it's all a bit mind-blowing, really. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, because you dropped, just quickly, you dropped Descent back in July 21. So it was like, and obviously that was another EP there. So I didn't know if like this was maybe I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but like this was a teaser maybe into what's coming sort of thing. So like, is there a full length coming out of it, or is it just?
So I think Morgan alluded to it. Descent and Black Sun Sorcery are very much two different animals. Descent was what Morgan's coined as Proto Moon Reaper. This is the first of, you can call it a teaser, the first of the new iteration of the 5 of us collaborating and producing this amalgamation of music together. There are more things in the can. There are more things under the covers. Obviously, I'm going to keep that very much to myself for now.
Absolutely.
But there is definitely more bubbling under the surface, and this is essentially the first 4 tracks we've put out to go, this is what we can do, and let's see what people think about it. Obviously, if loads of people like it and it goes well at Buzzsaw as well, the assumption is that we'll probably, and it'll be in our favor to put more out. If people want to hear more, we will listen to the fans first and foremost. That's what we always have done.
The full length discussion is something that we've had a lot as a project, and we've talked to a lot of other people about as well. And it's a tough one, Tom. It's a tough one. The main thing holding us back is the money aspect, because doing, the EP is expensive for us. It was obviously worth the money because we're very proud of it, and it's it's very well produced, and everything's super tight, and it sounds really good. And I'm very proud of us. I'm proud of what we've done. But to do that doubles in length is almost going to be double the cost, and that's thousands and thousands. So as a band, we'd have to grind for a long time to earn that kind of money to be able to go and do that. So the counter argument is, well, why don't we just go do a couple tracks? So we're giving people something in the meantime while we're still building that up. And this argument of, oh, well, should we just save and do the full album, or should we just like drip feed the bits and bobs? We've been having this debate for years now. So
it's so good because obviously the Spotify generation now is like, cool, that was great, what's next? Cool, that was great, what's next? So that kind of works anyway in your favor, because obviously if you're gonna drip feed it and whatnot, people are like, oh, that's great, and then you're gonna keep creating more stuff and keep really dropping stuff faster so people enjoy it more.
That is what the industry people have been saying to us in our conversations. We've had, just do the singles because that is what the market is like these days. But doing an album is such an achievement, and there's a correlating theme that knits it all together, and it just, I don't know. If the industry was out of the question, then I would much rather do an album. But it makes sense. It makes financial sense as well.
Quite like the element of having to work for it in a sense.
Yeah.
I would love to do an album. Like, we've got a bunch of tracks that we always have in our back pocket. We like to test them out in live scenarios and stuff as well, so we can really tailor them into the best possible versions that they can be. But the amount of time that it would take to put out an album, it's nice to kind of, I don't know, have the idea of like, oh, well, let's do some singles or another EP, for example, and build our way up to it, so that when we do finally do the first album, it's going to have as much kind of push as it can do. I don't know. It seems like an exciting prospect to me. But
yeah, do it at the right time. It's for sure on the cards. Just needs to be at the opportune moment. You release it too early. There are lots of bands, and I'm not criticizing their strategy at all in any way, but there are lots of bands that are releasing music, a large amount of music, to potentially a suboptimal audience, and that's just because they done it earlier, in a way that maybe 1,000 people or perhaps 10,000 people would hear it. But if you waited another 5 years, perhaps 100,000 people might hear it. And for the first album to get 100,000 is a big fucking deal.
You only get to release the first album once.
Exactly. You get one shot at the debut, right? So we're kind of like, oh, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't, oh, maybe.
I mentioned that question before I jumped into the EP and album conversation. Was Sharon, do you and Morgan write together?
So Morgan writes the kind of structure of the songs. He'll come in with an idea, and then every member of the band will kind of say, "Oh, I like this. How about this thing?" We kind of tweak it together as a group, but the writer is Morgan.
Yeah.
Lyrics?
That's me.
Lyrics are Morgan.
That's me. These days we developed a kind of like I'll do the guitars and the vocals as a thing, so they obviously knit together, and the structure is kind of. And then I go to James, hey, can you help me like make this a song? And James goes, sure. And then he sends me a file back, and I go, that's just not what I had in mind at all. And he goes, all right then, fuck you, fine, let's meet up and do it properly. And then we do that, and then I have the long process begins of going, have you practiced the new song yet? Have you learned the new song yet? No, okay. And then we do that a couple. Eventually it gets together and we push out in a practice room, and then
someone's had a cool idea.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, how about we just put a thrash metal bit in the middle? That's Jared, by the way. That's Jared.
I like that though, because it's all. Sorry. You go.
I do the baseline stuff. The beginning starts in this room with me and the guitar, and it just goes through a number of stages, as it were.
Sometimes I'll set you like a challenge, be like, oh, can you do a song that starts with like this weird subgenre, and then it goes into this weird subgenre, this one, and then you like go off and see what you can come up with.
I like it, man. I like the writing process. It's very. At this point, it's very refined, and James knows exactly the kind of thing that I want per section. He's like, and he gets the fucking files through, and he's like, another.
There's a difference between what you want and what's actually physically possible to play by a human being, and that's the ultimately the frustration that I deal with. Oh look, that's just 4/4. Oh, there's a random 9/8 bar. Oh, and then it drops by 30 BPM, seemingly for no reason. I wonder how we're going to get from there to there. Well, we're going there. I just have to figure out what I'm playing now, and it's enjoyable. It's a different way that I've ever written music, but I think there's clearly a lot of neurodivergence in this project, right? That should be very obvious, painfully obvious. It kind of fits us all because we kind of all like working to essentially. There's a brief set out. Morgan has the concept. What we're here to do is we're here to refine along the line, and then the finished song comes out at the end, and everyone's put in their little bit, and that kind of works for us all. Rather than going into a room and going, right, let's sit for 4 hours and see if we can figure out a new song from nowhere. That's never really worked for us because I think because we all come from very different backgrounds, it would just end up, no, that should be deathcore. No, it should be black metal. No, it should be fucking hard, and it would just never get resolved. So Morgan is very much the concept maker in that regard. Which we enjoy.
And then just quickly going back to your other question of did I enjoy it? I really liked Astro Hypnosis.
We've got that a lot. Everyone said that that's their favourite one, and I think for us that is the least favourite.
I don't think it's least favourite.
Okay, you got Beyond Obscurity, right, and you got Black Sun Sorcery, and then Necrochasm. Necro, by the way, is the best, and that is the only. Yeah, I guess so. Sorry.
I think this is the thing, though. What we love about it is that different people identify with difference, and it usually comes from what they listen to outside of us, and they identify. So Morgan likes Necrochasm because it is very much one of the doomier, slow, but it has that hardcore section in. I personally like Beyond Obscurity because it's got that really big beat downy bit at the end, and I love to play that. Other people might like stuff like Astro Hypnosis because it has that more spacey, that more sort of modern sort of like sound to it. The more like, so that's what we really enjoy, is that different audience members can actually come in and come out depending on what they really enjoy.
Tom, what is it about Astro that you like?
I don't know. Don't What are you
It's a very surreal question. The artist is going, so, as a fan, why is it you like that one? And let me tell you why you're fucking wrong, okay?
I don't know. It's hard to explain. I mean, I thought it was all really good, but that one just stood out more. I don't know why. I can't explain it. It's like your ears are attuned slightly, where it's just like, I don't know. I genuinely can't answer that question. I just really enjoyed it.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's because I'm not a musician. I'm not like, oh well, actually, when you brought in this, I don't know, 6x10 thing here, it was absolutely glorious.
6x10.
I don't know.
It's not a plank of wood, is it?
6 by what? When I drove the fucking 6x10, that's how heavy it was. And it's 60 wheels on the fucking.
It basically just ran up and kicked me straight in the dick, and I was like, I like it. I like it.
Nice. The conjured quasar. There's like a vocal call out, and then a really heavy like doom kind of beat down bit, and we say the words conjured quasar, and that is one of the highlight moments of our live set and also of the EP, and it's just got the James does the sick drum roll, and then we go into it just completely cuts out for the vocals, and yeah, it fucking hits. It does hit hard, and I really like playing that live because it's really slow, like really fun. I love that.
You
shit.
get to see the stank.
Yeah, the stank face.
The 40-year-old men in the back of the crowd with their arms crossed, suddenly going, "Oh yes, no, that is a riff, and I appreciate that. Even if I'm not going to pit, but I appreciate what you've done there." That's the ones that get me. And the back there, they're like,
"That's me, okay."
Yeah, this is metal. This is what I paid for. Yes, I concur.
I slightly.
Oh. So speaking of playing live, we have hinted at it already, but you guys are playing Bloodstock this year on the Sophie Lancaster stage. How was it to get that email, phone call, whatever it was, to say, you were on the New Blood last year, let's promote you to the next one?
At the time, both me and Morgan were at work, and the band chat starts popping off to be like, Simon's trying to call Morgan, like, get Morgan on his phone now. So I text Morgan all caps like, Simon's trying to call you, this is not a drill, get on your phone now.
Morgan was doing a delivery though.
Morgan was doing a delivery.
Sorry, is that a euphemism? Were you what do you mean doing a delivery?
Get your mind out of the gutter!
Grow up.
Were you working a bar? What delivery were you doing? Do you mean you were making
I had a delivery come in. Thousands of pounds worth of bar stock came into my work.
Oh, you were dealing with. Okay, right. Okay, I'm on the same.
He wasn't having a shit, James.
I was laying a delivery.
A bunch of stuff.
Was it a 6x10? 6x10 delivery?
It's actually a fucking 10x20, mate. It was disgusting.
Simon.
Yeah, no, Simon's sort of trying to call me, and I was like drenched in sweat because it was hot, and I was doing a delivery, and yeah, I picked him up. I basically just walked out of the venue to call him. I was like, "Fuck, I'm leaving." So yeah,
Simon's trying to call me.
Simon's calling me. And yeah, that was a very tough time for me personally. I had to try really hard not to sound really childish over the phone. I was like, yes, we could. Oh, yeah, we could probably make that work. We could probably
need to chat with the band.
Yeah, I need to run it past the due process, but
you should be fine though.
I wanted to go.
I went to a meeting. So I work in the NHS now, and I work in a mental health team. So the meetings that we have every day are quite important, and I have to be quite. Luckily, I'm just an admin, so I'm not too involved in the patient care. But nevertheless, I need to listen to what's going on, and my phone's going off. Like, you're playing Bloodstock. I'm just there, like, trying to really hard to take in the information that's going in this meeting, whilst my brain is just screaming at me to say, "You're playing Sophie stage." What the fuck?
So yeah, it was a cool. It was a good Tuesday that day. It was a good Tuesday.
The question is, Sirin, why were you on your phone in the middle of a meeting? You should have been paying
honestly. And we pay our taxes towards the NHS, and they sit on their bastard phones in meetings. Honestly,
it was the very start of the meeting, so the meeting hadn't like properly kicked off. I found out the before the meeting started, which is when I had to just sit and listen. The reason why I was on my phone beforehand is because Simon Hall was trying to call Morgan.
And also, you could tell the age difference, can't you? Like, Jamie going, excuse me, but why were you on your phone whilst working? It's just like, who gives a shit?
I was on my phone at work, but still.
You work for the NHS as well, Jay, so what the fuck are
I
you
know
on
I
about?
do, but it's fine.
You can be a critical prick. Sorry, Sharon, don't listen to a word this prick says, all right?
Right. If I could just make things a little bit serious for a minute, I know if it's possible. Because you are playing on the Sophie Lancaster stage, and it is Bloodstock, and I don't know if you may have noticed that Sophie logo behind us, we are ambassadors for the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. So we've been discussing this with artists at Trees, so I thought I'd bring it here as well. We're trying to just basically find out a bit more from people in the alternative community. Obviously, what happened to Sophie happened because she was part of the alternative community. Is this something that you guys have had to experience in your life where you've been treated differently, had stereotypes put upon you, or whatever it may be, just because the music you're listening to, the way you're dressed, whatever it may be? Is this something you guys have had to deal with as well?
More so in like school years where people would say it out loud, whereas in adulthood, I think it mainly comes out from assumptions where people won't say these sort of things until they get to know you. It was like, oh, well, I just assumed that because you're into that stuff that you'd be horrible, and actually you're quite nice. And like, unfortunately, it still seems like there is a lot of, I don't know how I want to phrase this. Like, animosity, but also just like, I don't know, people just don't seem to think, oh, they're people because they like screamy music and they wear all black and stuff. Like, metalheads are the nicest community to be in. Like, it brings you so much happiness and joy. And yeah, there's some angry noise going on, but you can have a laugh about that. And like, it's welcoming to everyone, which I love.
I think, I agree with what Sirin said about it. It happens primarily in adolescence. As an adult, you have more say about who you surround yourself with. So, for example, you may not go to work at a workplace who wouldn't accept a metalhead if you're visibly dressed as a metalhead. If you can go in disguise, perhaps it's a little different. But for me, I would go to work wearing this. I would go and do my bar shift in this shirt, and don't really. Sometimes I have questions about the thing that things I wear, or like the tattoos that I have, or the music that I listen to. But I wouldn't say that it's, especially not in Bristol, because Bristol's a very accepting and welcoming city, and it probably is like that everywhere. So I would say yes, but primarily in school and when I was a teenager as well, quite a bit.
In saying that, though, in adulthood, as a woman in the scene, unfortunately, you do get sexualized sometimes. So you get like catcalls from creepy dudes who see goth walking down the street. Had one dude ask me if I would be his witch for the evening. Just made me want to tear off my skin. It's nasty. But luckily, those instances don't happen very often.
I think that happens to a lot of women, though. It doesn't matter if you're alternative. So
I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with Morgan's point about it's not so much as an adult. I think so. I'm obviously old enough to remember 2007. Remember it coming out and it happening at the time, and remember, not to say that Morgan and Sirin aren't, but I was like 17, 18, I believe, at the time. So this is I can't recall how old Sophie was. I believe she was she in her early 20s? Yeah.
Funny.
So it was very good. I think the reason that the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is very important is because it was one of many examples of where if you stray outside of the norm, be it as a teen, as an adult, it is an excuse for society and those people that want to take that the wrong way to ridicule, to go, that's different, therefore I should be afraid of it. And that's an extreme case. Sophie Lancaster is an extreme case where that was taken to a level it should never have been taken off, and no one should be assaulted and lose their lives for identifying as something against the norm. The reason I don't agree with Morgan is because, obviously, as I mentioned, I'm becoming a dad. Now, I used to have much longer hair. I do have a big beard, but I used to have hair down to like my shoulder and stuff. Now I still, and it might be because of the generation that I grew up in or because of my own experiences, I don't feel like I could raise my child and have long hair and wear band t-shirts. I don't feel like I'd be taken seriously as a father and stuff like that. Now that might just be my own gripe, but I think society does still have a lot to do about basically you can identify however you like, and this is across many different things, as long as you're not causing harm to anybody or yourself. Realistically, there's nothing wrong with identifying any which way you want to. Do you know what I mean? And there's stuff that we need to do within our own community. So there are aspects of our community that still do behave in a way that we need to cut out. And across wider community, and we're an example as metalheads that actually know we can go and listen to music about things like death and torture and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that we all go to Bloodstock and we all support that idea and we're going to go and mutilate people. We do it because actually we're laughing in the face of these things. And this is where we're sort of going against the stereotype that metalheads are actually quite intelligent people, and they can see the irony of a band like Cannibal Corpse are there going, isn't people that mutilate people, aren't they fucking stupid? Yes, they are. Let's laugh at how stupid that is and have fun with it, because ultimately we completely disagree with that. I don't know if you guys saw what happened in Bristol literally this week. So there's a gentleman from London who has murdered 2 people, severed their bodies and put them in suitcases. Now,
Yes,
without that context, that's a Cannibal Corpse song, right? But you then take it out of the genre, and it's like that's an absolutely abhorrent way to behave. And I know personally, friends of mine have had people that have been murdered and cut up and stuff like that, and they still listen to the genre, but they laugh at it's laughing in the face of death, and it's taking the fear out of it. So that's my long-winded way of saying yes. I think it's incredibly important. I do still think we've got a way to go, and that's why I think it's great that it's still prominent, and we are embodying it by being on one of the biggest festival stages in one of the biggest UK festivals, and that name's still out there. And I think you guys are great for constantly being ambassadors for it.
fucking well said, my friend. But you sort of answered my next question, because obviously 2007, what happened to Sophie when we were growing up, 2024 is a very different world. So, is it easier to grow up and be part of this community now, or still work to do?
I think yes. I think it's probably the social media thing has made it far easier to see that there are these people and that they're mostly the same as other people, and that there perhaps is taken some of the alienation out of it. However, it is also a platform to spread hatred upon. But personally, like if I've posted something on social media, I don't get hate from normies calling me like a weirdo or like a mosher, fucking. You know what I'm saying? They tend not to, because they either don't see there's something they don't want to see alternative people on their feed. They just want to see their friends or whatever. So I'd argue that there's more information about everything, but also about our culture and our community out there. So I think it's less of a scapegoat than it used to be. I mean, look at the satanic panic in America in like the 80s and stuff, and how Satanism was blamed for everything for literally no reason other than they discovered it, basically. So
Yeah.
hard pressed to do that nowadays, because people will kind of be like, yeah, all right, I know a dude who wears a Bathory shirt and he's all right. There's more of us too. There are more metalheads around. Perhaps as society is slowly crumbling, more people are turning to this kind of culture, maybe.
I think
But it's all go on, Sharon.
I was gonna say, I think it also depends on where you are. Like, I grew up in a very small town in Devon, and you don't have a lot of alternative people there, so it was a lot easier to get picked on for being different, because everyone around you isn't like that. And you do, like, even now, sometimes I'll go back to visit my family, and I do get a lot of stares for being visibly alternative. But I think there is perhaps more awareness now than there used to be, which is a good step forward. There's just some ways that could be improved on.
I think we're the product of our generation. So because we're more involved in it, we're going to teach the generation below us that it's more acceptable, right? I think that goes both ways though. So, like example, as I said, like I don't have long hair anymore, and I don't actually wear band t-shirts or thing. Now I'm as accepted in the community. If I want to go out and wear a nice shirt, the fact that I'm listening to Kublai Khan really makes no difference to anyone. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's going both ways. I see loads of people at like festivals and gigs, and they're not necessarily wearing band t-shirts or studs and stuff like that, and that actually is quite nice to have that mix. And the more that we mix with people and accept that not everybody wants to wear a disgusting t-shirt, some people just want to put raving outfit on and come to a metal show because that's comfortable for them. And actually the more we mix, the better it will become, personally.
Lovely. I actually really need a wee, so I'm just gonna go do.
Are you going for another delivery?
Yeah, it's going to be a 6x10 wee.
What's that, Babel?
I'm going to 600 seconds. That's how many. All right.
We'll see in a minute. But it's absolutely massive how you've gone from winning Metal to the Masses of Bristol last year to then being special guest openers at Metal to the Masses Sheffield, to being Metal to the Masses guest headliners in Bristol this year, playing Bloodstock this year, and you played last year, and you're also playing at One for Sorrow in Plymouth at the end of August. Is kind of like, is it just mental now that you're getting playing all these big shows, these big festivals with these bigger bands?
It feels really weird. It hasn't sunk in yet that we're playing Bloodstock again. I didn't believe that we were playing Bloodstock, despite the fact that we won Metal to the Masses last year, until the moment that I was on stage. And even when I got on stage, I was like, this is strange, but incredibly exciting. And the fact that we've been invited to go back is just an absolute honor. Like, Bloodstock's home to me. Me and Morgan go every single year. Same with Aiden. Obviously, James has had his first one now, and Jared went for his first Bloodstock last year. It's the one thing that we look forward to every single year. So to be going back feels incredible, but a little daunting, because I still think of us as this, like, you know, little local Bristol band. And how the fuck am I gonna fill that huge tent? I don't know, but I thought the same thing about New Blood, and that I could see the edge of the crowd. It was spilling out the tent. But no matter where I looked, I could see someone that I knew, which was really, really nice. It's just a testament to how great the Bloodstock community is. It feels great. It's long-winded.
No, it's still no, we prefer long-winded. We don't, just like, yeah. No one's going to want to, I mean, we want the answers, Cherry. You know what I mean? That's what we're going for. But with a Moon Reaper show, say, compared to a Moon Reaper festival show, do you change the set list accordingly to, depending on, people might not be so familiar with yourself, say at Bloodstock or whatever festival you're playing at. So do you just drop all the bangers in?
I think we tier it, definitely. So we tier it depending. So for example, you mentioned One for Sorrow in Plymouth. That will be a more doom heavy set list to suit who we're playing to. There's no point in playing hardcore to that crowd. They might enjoy it for a bit, but that's not what they've paid to come and see with everybody else.
Yeah.
When we played with Blaspheme in Western, we added more of the black metal bits in, so we definitely tier it. But if you've never seen us, then yeah, essentially this is the EP. These are the EP shows. These are really, we want to play the big bangers we want everyone to go and listen to. And also for those people that have not listened to us and those people that have not spoken to us, we can go, you come and see us on Sunday afternoon. That is the best of what we do currently that you can then go listen to. You can then get our merchandise. It's all about the onward journey. And yeah, there will be some stuff in there that we currently don't have out, but that's part of the tease, isn't it? That's the little tip on the tease.
Process, as I mentioned before, like sometimes we'll play new songs to gauge reaction, and we'll pick them from there. So with something as big as Bloodstock, we'll probably be going with something that we know will have a good reaction, and likely playing the EP and stuff as well. But
so many songs though. We only have released let's say 6 songs that we'd actually play live. And there are other release tracks that we can and do play frequently. The set list itself will never vary too much. There will always be the staple EP tracks in there. There'll always be like we did a live video for our song Overlord. That one's a good one for the doomy crowd, I guess. It's got a really like good kind of doomy hook for its main riff, as it were. But the thing is, I don't quite agree with what James said about tailoring it to the gig, because every single song has different bits in it.
We do somewhat.
We do a little bit, but it doesn't quite work. It's not like we have 5 doom tracks, 5 hardcore tracks, 5 black metal tracks, and we're like, oh, it's a fucking black metal gig. Let's. They all have all of those aspects in them, but we do tailor it a bit. Also, very interestingly, and something that I do appreciate about having both of us as flexible vocalists, is that if we are playing a black metal show, I can simply change the vocal part to have a high in, like a high shriek, a black metal shriek, as it were, or for a doom show, just to do more lows, just to kind of knit ourselves into the gig a bit better. And having that ability just to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna do like doom lows for this entire show, or for a lot of the parts that perhaps I wouldn't normally. I think it's great that we can mold the songs to the show if we want to.
Now to book you on a power metal festival. Incredible. Mr. Stevens, do you have any more questions for our wonderful guests?
I do, because I realised you have to shoot. Sorry, Jay. So basically, this guys, it's been amazing, by the way. Can I just say thank you so much for joining us this evening. We do apologise we have to wrap this up so quick because Jamie's got to go to work. So when
bloody NHS workers, honestly, always working and saving lives, bastards.
And thank you for everything you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm on the doorstep.
I stood outside my house for every day during COVID clapping you. I hope you appreciate it. I'm going to do it to you in person. When I meet you in Bloodstock, I'm going to walk up to you and just go, you're a godsend, Jay.
You're all good. You're all good. Don't apologise. It's okay. We need to appreciate these things. First things first, with obviously you've got the Bloodstock show and you've got the One for Sorrow show and everything coming up. But like, what's next for Moon Reaper? And secondly, when you first started this whole project, did you ever think that this is where you would be today?
First question. What's next is studio, hopefully this autumn. James is having a baby, so that is quite a kind of monolith of a block of his availability is gone. And also a monolith in the sense of his life is going to change forever. So there is that small matter.
We're very proud of you.
But we are proud of him for impregnating his wife. Anyway, so back to studio, hopefully this autumn. And as for whether I ever expect we get this far, in a short answer, no. But I very much hoped that we did. And I'm fucking proud of the fact that we've got this far. But I've always had faith in the people that I work with, because I choose good ones.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's the non-egotistical answer. The egotist answer is, so next year it's going to be main stage opener. That is happening. That's a fact. I'm calling it now. Ronnie James Dio stage. I'm thinking maybe Saturday mid card. Headline Trees, Headline Art Tangent, World Tour, World Domination, 6 Children, and Million Bags. Yeah.
No children.
Did I think I'd get here? No, but I'm going to enjoy every minute of it.
And it's fully deserved. You know what I'm saying? So from what I've heard so far, it's fully fucking deserved, and we only wish you every success going forward and whatnot. So we appreciate you all very massively. We will absolutely 1,000,000% catch up at Bloodstock. We'll have another interview there as well in person. So it'd be great, and we'll come down and see you as well. What
biscuits are we having at Bloodstock? This is the thing we did last year. If you name a biscuit now, it will make it to Bloodstock. What biscuit are we sharing at Bloodstock? Ooh. Name a biscuit. I dare you.
Okay. I'm at Chocolate Hobnob.
Chocolate Hobnob. Chocolate Hobnobs during the interview at Bloodstock. It's going to happen.
Do it. Let's do it.
I'm going to make a note now. I'm going to say, get Chocolate Hobnobs for the Chronicles. We're literally going to be there. Tea, Hobnobs. It's lovely out here today. Yes. I saw Satyricon earlier. They're very nice people.
Absolutely tremendous.
I met Glenn Benton today. Lovely fellow. Lovely fellow.
Yeah.
Mikhail Alkafelt's in the corner if you wish to say hello.
We were talking about astrophysics in the corner. He's a very intellectual man, actually.
Oh, guys, plugs, social medias, websites. Where can people find you out in the world?
Everywhere.
We are everywhere. Apart from TikTok. We don't have TikTok because fuck
Yes,
that.
we do.
Well, we do, but James never.
It's crap. We have it.
Don't use it. We are
Instagram mainly.
Facebook. Instagram, yeah.
YouTube, Spotify, Bandcamp, you name it.
You
we're
name
on it. Apart from we don't really use the TikTok.
Nah, fuck TikTok.
And we don't use Twitter. But other than that, basically everything.
What are we gonna tweet? Oh, black holes at it again.
Yeah, just be retweeting everything NASA posts.
Yeah. I've seen this cool picture of a fucking nebula.
Oh, incredible. Gents, lady and gents, try on again. Thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with us this evening. It means the absolute world.
Thank you for having us. This has been a very fun time.
Thanks so much, Tom and Jamie. Appreciate your time.
You.
More than welcome. Thank you so much. It's great. And we will see you in about 3 weeks' time.
Yes.
Yes.
We will.
Hobnobs and Astrophysics. Here we go.
Yes.
See you at Bloodstock.
That's
can't
the
wait.
name. That's the name of the album.
Yeah.
Hobnobs and Astrophysics.
It's like a weird version of Bed Knocks and Broomsticks. Hobnobs and Astrophysics. Sounds like one hell of a Friday night, though, doesn't it?
It really does.
We'll title the interview. This is interviews out on Friday, so we'll title it that.
Yeah,
Hobnobs
absolutely.
and
You've got to be called it.
Astrophysics.
The Chronicles of Moon Reaper, Hobnobs and Astrophysics. Superb.
Incredible. Oh.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have an absolutely wonderful evening, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Tatty bye.
Tatty bye. Bye bye.